Welcome. I'm Susan Martin, the Program Director for PhD Career Development in the Graduate School's Office of Academic and Professional Development. This presentation provides a quick overview of the career services available to graduate students. While the content is crafted for students and postdocs, faculty and staff will find the information relevant to the work that they do as advisors, mentors, and departmental coordinators. If you are a new student, you should have completed the online orientation module about managing your career, which you can refer back to at any time. If you are a returning student, faculty or staff member, this presentation will provide a refresher. It will also provide updated information about career services for doctoral students and postdocs offered by the Graduate School in collaboration with the University Career Center and the President's Promise. The graduate school experience is about more than simply earning a degree. On the graduate school website, gradschool.umd.edu, you can learn more about the Graduate Pathways Framework, which describes 5 areas for academic, professional, and personal development during graduate school. The icons here are associated with each of those 5 pathways. And from left to right, the pathways are: set your goals, become an expert, manage your career, communicate and lead, and finally, engage, thrive, and connect. Twice each month, graduate students are sent the Graduate Pathways newsletter, which highlights opportunities associated with each of these pathways. The 5 pathways also provide a framework for planning your graduate school experience. All graduate students are encouraged to create a written plan or individual development plan, IDP for short, that includes goals for each year of their graduate experience. There are downloadable IDP templates for master's and doctoral students and postdocs on the Graduate School website. Now let's focus on the Manage Your Career pathway. At Maryland, there is a network of career offices that provide services for graduate students and postdocs. Depending on which school or college your program or postdoc is located, you will access these services in one or more of the centers. If you are in the A. James Clark School of Engineering, the Robert H. Smith School of Business, or the School of Public Policy, you should begin by familiarizing yourself with the services and staff of the center embedded in your school or college. Visit the website to learn more about specific workshops and events, and to learn more about the career portal that you will use to access services. These portals are Careers for Engineers, or C4E for short, Hire Smith, and UMD Policy Jobs, respectively. If you are in any other college or school, you have access to services through the University Career Center and the President's Promise using the Careers for TERPs portal, or C4T for short. Additionally, all doctoral students from any school or college can access the career programming provided by the Graduate School's Office of Academic and Professional Development. Each of the 4 career centers provides services and events that are very similar, and you can see them listed on this slide. First, the centers provide very useful information on their websites about career preparation and how to conduct an effective job or internship search. This information on the website is a great place to start. Through your primary Career Center's portal and website, you can register for events, see job postings and put in applications for these postings. You can access online resources such as the Vault Career Library, Going Global, and Interview Stream, and you can schedule individual advising appointments. All graduate students should update their profiles in C4T and/or their primary career portal each semester. This ensures that the most relevant job postings and events appear on your homepage. Each center also hosts workshops, career panels, and employer events throughout the year. The 4 career centers collaborate with each other on the annual fall and spring career and internship fairs, and a career workshop series, especially for international students. These events are currently being offered virtually. Please follow the Graduate School and your Primary Career Center on social media. Sign up for and read their e-newsletters, and be sure that you review the events calendars regularly to learn more about and sign up for upcoming workshops and events. It is really important to be actively engaged in managing your career from the start of and throughout your graduate program, not just when you begin searching for post-graduation jobs. Now I'm going to provide some additional information for master's students. We recognize that master's students come from very diverse backgrounds. Each has a unique set of life roles in addition to being a student. And master's students enter the graduate program with widely varying types and amounts of prior work experience. A master's degree can open up additional career opportunities. That is why most of you chose to pursue graduate study. However, the degree alone will not be enough. Employers are looking for a mix of job-related and transferable skills, as well as experiences. To become career ready, as we call it, master's students should actively participate in activities that build required skills and experiences. Additionally, participating in networking events, professional associations, and internships are also ways to increase your knowledge about future careers and make valuable professional connections. Master's students should ask their program coordinator or advisor about how career development topics are integrated into the curriculum. And master's students should take time at the start of their program to learn more about their primary career center and the events offered by their department, college, and/or school. If you are a master's student looking for an internship for next summer, you should start your search in September. Now we're going to shift to PhDs. PhD alumni are employed in meaningful and challenging careers in academia, private industry, nonprofit organizations, government agencies, and entrepreneurial ventures. In 2019, the Graduate School gathered information about the employment outcomes of approximately 6,200 PhD alumni who graduated between 2009 and 2019. Just a little more than half of these, of the 4,800 that we found placement information for, are employed outside of academia. Of those working in higher education, only about 20% reported were in tenure-track faculty positions. The actual percentage of graduates in tenure-track faculty positions varied by program. The Alumni Placement for Doctoral Recipients report is available on the Institutional and Research and Planning website, and the link is shown here. Doctoral training develops many transferable skills. Given the decline of tenure-track faculty positions over the past 2 decades and the impact of COVID-19 on higher education overall, doctoral students should identify Plan A and Plan B career options for themselves and actively engage in professional development activities to prepare to be competitive candidates upon graduation. From the beginning of their studies, doctoral students and postdocs should create an IDP and utilize the career services offered by their primary career center. In addition, all doctoral students and postdocs should utilize the career services and offerings provided by the Graduate School in collaboration with the University Career Center and the President's Promise. The professional and career development pages of the grad school website have more information and links to specific information and resources for PhDs. You can access this information with an easy-to-remember URL, go.umd.edu/PhD career info. On these pages, you will find descriptions and links to upcoming workshops and events. All workshops are offered via Zoom, and recordings are available on the Grad School and University Career Center YouTube pages. There is also more information on the website about how to sign up for PhD Career Navigator. PhD Career Navigator is a set of do-it-yourself career modules in Maryland's online course platform known as Elms Canvas. PhDs also have access to 2 free career planning tools that are made specifically for PhDs. These are Imagine PhD and Aurora. Finally, there are opportunities to learn more from Maryland PhD alumni and employers through the Rita B. Leahy PhD Career Series, the new employer virtual visits for PhDs, which are being launched this fall, and the annual PhD Career Pathways Conference held every spring. Did you know that the vast majority of graduate students find internships and jobs through their personal and professional network? Don't worry if you feel like you don't have a professional network yet. Your graduate experience will include many opportunities to build and expand your professional network if you make time to participate. Graduate students can also leverage networking opportunities at national and regional conferences and by reaching out to UMD alumni directly for advice and information. There are 2 ways to connect online with alumni. Terrapins Connect is the university's official networking website. Students can reach out to alumni who have already volunteered to speak with current students and postdocs. These volunteers are willing to provide career advice, information about the work that they do, resume critiques, and introductions to others in their professional networks. They are willing and eager to assist you as you explore and launch your career. LinkedIn is the second place to actively expand your professional network. There are nearly 300,000 alumni in the University of Maryland's school LinkedIn group. Graduate students are strongly encouraged to reach out in Terrapins Connect and LinkedIn to make professional connections and to arrange informational interviews throughout all phases of their graduate studies. Informational interviews are brief career conversations, usually 20 to 30 minutes, where you gather valuable information from alumni and other professionals about the careers that you are considering. Conducting informational interviewing also expands your professional network and uncovers valuable advice about how to navigate from graduate school into your chosen career, and also provide information about potential employers. You can learn more about how to conduct informational interviews on your Career Center's website. I hope that this overview of services has been informative. If you are a student or postdoc, my hope is that you are motivated to take action today. If you are a faculty or staff member, the presentation has hopefully equipped you to better direct and encourage your students to utilize the career services available to them and to encourage them to use them often and early. The staff of the graduate school and in each of the career centers on campus are here to support the career and professional development of graduate students in all stages of career planning and the job search process. Please let me or any of the Career Center staff know if you have any questions at all. Thank you and have a great year.